Hello students, this is Mrs. Crumpton, and today we're going to be studying section 6.3d, Solve Systems of Equations by Substitution. Your learning target for this section is I can solve systems of equations by substitution. There is a definition that you need to know that's a little bit different from what we've seen for the definition of substitution. The definition that you're going to use for substitution in this section is an algebraic model that can be used to find the exact solution of a system of equations. Okay, make sure you get that written down, and then let's look at an example. Good. Okay, students, here's your first example. We are going to solve this system by substitution. Now, I just gave you the definition for substitution for this section as an algebraic model that can be used to find the exact solution of a system of equations. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to substitute a variable term in for another variable. Okay, take a look at these two equations. We've got y equals x plus 15 and y equals 4x. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're told here that y equals 4x. We're going to take and substitute that 4x in place of y. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I've got y equals 15 plus, x plus 15, but I'm substituting 4x in place of y. So 4x equals x plus 15. Okay? Now then, remember when we solve equations that we have to have the equations on the same variable on the same side of the equation. Isolate the variable. Now, even though I don't see it, there is an imaginary 1 in front of that x. I want you to think for just a minute. How do I get this x to go over to this side of the equation? You remember how to do this? Okay. Hope you do. Because what we're going to do is we're going to subtract this 1x from both sides of the equation. Now it's gone over here. So long. See ya. And we've got 4x minus 1x. What's that? Combine those coefficients. 4x minus 1x is 3x. Bring down the positive 15. Remember, I do not have to bring down the plus sign because even though I don't have that plus sign there, we know that that number is positive. Now we've got a simple one-step equation. I want you to think in here. What operation do we see? 3x. Multiplication. I hope you said that. So to solve this equation, we're going to perform the opposite operation. The opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by what the variable has been multiplied by, which is 3. Okay, that 3 over 3 becomes a 1 or 1x. And your answer here is x equals 5. We're not done though. Remember from when we were graphing these equations, how your answer was an ordered pair? Right now we only have half an answer. That x is 5. Remember, in ordered pairs, x always comes before y. Now then, I know x is 5. So I'm going to take x equals 5, and you can plug that into either of these equations. I'm going to go with this one because there's less work for that one. So I'm taking what I just found, x equals 5, and I am going to now replace x in this equation. So I'll have y equals 4 times 5. Remember, when you're replacing or substituting, let's use our correct terminology. When I'm substituting, it's always a good idea to replace that variable, substitute that number for the variable with parentheses. So I've got y equals 4 times 5, and that is 20. So go back over here to where we were. Our second part, y equals 20. Now, I know that we've done some graphing here lately, so if you want to convince yourself that 520 is your solution, I would suggest that you go back and graph both of these equations and see if you get this as the intersection. Next example coming up. Okay, students, here is a real-world example. We're going to talk about selling t-shirts for just a minute. A store sold 84 black and gray t-shirts. They sold 5 times as many black t-shirts as gray. Now we're going to solve two different things here. The first part, we're going to write a system of equations to represent the situation. Now let's look at our important information here. Starting back with the first sentence, it says a store sold 84 black and gray t-shirts. So first off, let's do something important like defining our variables. So let's let x represent the number of black t-shirts sold. And let's let y equal the number of gray t-shirts sold. All right, let's look at this first sentence again. It says a store sold. What symbol do you think we need to use in place of the word sold? Okay, think on that just a minute. All right, that should be an equal sign. Hope you got it. Now let's keep on with the problem. They sold how many? 84. So something is going to equal 84. Black and gray. What operator symbol do we need to put here? How about a plus sign? That'll work for me. It'll work for the problem. So now let's think a minute. How do we put that first equation together? A store sold 84 black and gray t-shirts. How about this? X equals the number of black t-shirts. Y equals the number of gray t-shirts. X plus Y equals 84. There's our first equation. Now we've got to get our second one. Let's look at the second sentence and see what information we can gather here. And then we're ready to solve our system of equations. They sold 5 times as many black t-shirts as gray t-shirts. Now, what does this word mean? That's an easy one. It means multiplication. They sold 5 times as many black t-shirts as gray t-shirts. So here, our black t-shirts equals 5 times the number of gray t-shirts. Okay, now we've got our system of equations set up, and this is going to be just like we solved the other one. So what we're going to do is we're going to pause for just a minute, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to solve this system of equations, and then we'll come back together and see if you did it right. Pause. Okay, students, now part B to this says solve the system, and interpret the solution. Now, when we paused the video just a few seconds ago, I kind of gave you a heads up that that's what we were going to do. So let's see if you were able to solve this equation, or the system of equations. All right, so we've got x plus y equals 84. And we've got that x equals 5y. Think about your previous example for just a minute, and what did we do? We've got x equals 5y. This time it's going to be a little different because we're told x equals 5y. So instead of plugging in for y, we're going to plug in for x. All right, let's rewrite this now, substituting what we're told that x equals. So we've got 5y plus y equals 84. What's the coefficient of this y right here? You better know this. That coefficient is 1. Now we have like terms. 5y plus 1y. Why are they like terms? Too many y's in there. They both have the same variable. So 5y plus 1y is 6y equals 84. Okay, now we said just a few minutes ago what operation we've got right here. Do you remember? Multiplication. What is the opposite of multiplication? That's division. Use that fraction bar to symbolize division. We're going to divide both sides by what that variable has been multiplied by, which is 6. One-step equation, we're ready to solve it. Y equals, what is 84 divided by 6? Remember that little shortcut thing I showed some of you. We've got 84 divided by 6. 6 goes into 8 one time with a remainder of 2. 6 goes into 24 4 times. So our answer here, y equals 14. I started right 24. Y equals 14. We're not done yet. We've still got to find x. So I'm about to run out of room on the board here, but I think we can manage. We've got x equals 5y. So what we're going to do, since I already know what y is, let's go over here to this side of the board, and we've got x equals 5y. We're going to substitute that value 14 in place of y. So we've got x equals 5. Don't forget to use your friend parentheses, times 14. 5 times 14 is 70. Now you're ready to write your ordered pair solution. Your answer, or your solution, x is 70 and y is 14. But this says interpret the solution. So what does this solution mean? That goes back to where we defined our variables at the start of the problem. X equals the number of black t-shirts. Y equals the number of gray t-shirts. Remember, ordered pair. X comes before Y. X, Y. X is the number of black t-shirts. Y is the number of gray t-shirts. So your interpretation here needs to be a complete sentence, and that interpretation is: the store sold 70 black t-shirts and 14 gray t-shirts. How'd you do? Did you get that interpreted correctly? I hope so. Let's pause the video for just a minute and let you look back over this problem. If you have any questions, be sure you jot those questions down and bring them to me during class. Okay, students, guess what time it is? It's formative assessment time, formative assessment time. I know, y'all don't like my jokes sometimes. Anyway, if you need additional examples, please find those in your textbook, pages 378 and 379. Your formative assessment, which is just a snapshot to see if you understand the examples that I've given you, page 380, numbers 1, 3, and 5. And your assignment is going to be page 380, numbers 6 through 15. All. Please make sure you try the formative assessment. We'll be looking at those to make corrections as needed. Go ahead and start on the assignment. We'll finish that up and get ready for your test next week. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you do a good job on your assignment.